Hey guys, what is going on? Abby here, and in today's video we're going to be taking a deep dive into the Elemental Projector prefix that you can find on any artifact around Borderlands 3. The Elemental Projector prefix can come on any artifact in the world, so you can see it here. I've got on a Victory Rush, I've got it on a Moxie's Endowment, and I've also got it on an Auto Idol. So when you're farming for Elemental Projectors, you just have to find them as either world drops, or you can specifically go and find the dedicated farm of the artifact that you're looking for and then hope that you get the Elemental Projector prefix. But currently there is no way to target Elemental Projector specific artifacts. So when you're looking at an artifact, you have the prefix and you have the suffix or the root of the artifact here, and the Elemental Projector is a prefix. That ties into the first perk on the card there. So you'll see it says Elemental Damage Boost and Damage Boost 96%. This is a level 53. At level 50 it's 90%, but the level 53 one will give you a damage boost of 96%. Then you're also going to see on the second section of this card, you'll see the suffix or the root of that artifact word. You'll see the buff for that. So in this particular case, it's an Auto Idol, which restores 19% of your max health after killing an enemy. And then below the Auto Idol explanation, you're going to get 3 different perks. There are a couple artifacts that only have 2 perks, like the Banjo and the Grave, but those are kind of special. Elemental Projectors are always going to come with 3 passive perks at the bottom. So for instance, this one we have Incendiary Damage, Fight for Your Life, Movement Speed, and Shock Damage. And then below that, at the very bottom, that's actually going to explain the prefix on your artifact. So they kind of split it up a little bit weird, but this part at the bottom, while suffering an elemental effect, increase your damage with that same element, that is explaining the prefix at the top. So at the bottom, we see the Elemental Projector means while suffering an elemental effect, you're increasing your damage by 96% with that same element. So that is to say that the Elemental Projector part of this artifact will only boost your damage 96% if you are suffering from that elemental effect, and it only increases the damage with that same element. Whenever you are afflicted by an element, you'll see some sort of indication on your screen. Fire and radiation show up at the bottom of your screen. You'll see shock at the sides of your screen, and you will see corrosion and cryo at the top of your screen. So when you see these elemental effects on your character, that is when you get the elemental damage boost from the Elemental Projector, and only if you are also shooting that element. So for the most part, you're only going to be wanting to use this artifact if you are inflicting damage upon yourself so that you can control when you get that damage boost and when you don't. You don't want to rely on the areas that you're mobbing in to have that element or the enemies to be shooting you with that element. So that's why you'll see people use the Elemental Projector when they're pairing it with a shield like the red suit that gives you 100% immunity to radiation, because then you can actually inflict radiation upon yourself, not take any damage from it, and then get that 96% damage bonus. This can be a very effective damage boost to your character if you can effectively inflict that elemental damage upon yourself. However, currently in the game, there are not too many shields that give you 100% immunity to an element. Right now, we only have the Transformer for shock immunity and the red suit for radiation immunity. There are certain shields like Ember's Blaze from the DLC where you can have a high resistance to certain elements like fire, but at higher levels, you'll find you can rip through your shields pretty easily with your own damage. So use caution when trying anything like that out. You can use splash damage to inflict yourself with the elemental damage, certain weapons, certain grenades that have lingering effects. Amara's driver class mod will also inflict damage upon her. As far as my opinion on the Elemental Projector and its viability at endgame at higher levels of Mayhem, I feel like it's just not always worth it. It's only worth it in very specific situations. And with the introduction of elemental action skill and anointments that you can get on your shield and grenade, which are very meta at the moment, they add a ton of damage and allow you to use the same weapon and get additional elements so that you can take down multiple health, shield, and armor bars. These elemental ASE anointments will also be applied to you if you are shooting these weapons or throwing grenades after your action skill is over. So keep that in mind. If you have multiple action skill and anointments on your shield and on your grenade, you're also going to be applying that element to yourself. So if you use action skill and elemental anoints, keep in mind which ones you are using because you will be applying those to yourself as well. It's very, very easy to kill yourself with those, especially if you have a different one on your shield and a different one on your grenade. And then on action skill N, now you are doing radiation, corrosive, and fire or something like that. So Elemental Projector is going to be best if you are also matching that element that you are immune to. So for instance, the red suit is 100% immunity to radiation. If you're using a radiation weapon, then you're also using an action skill end radiation on your red suit shield. And then on your grenade, you're using something that is not going to add an element to your weapon and grenades and is something like on grenade throw or regen a grenade. However, in my opinion, I feel like it's better to diversify the number of elements that you are shooting, that you're doing damage with, rather than being all in to one particular damage. If you're interested in seeing one of my builds from last October, I think it was, where I took flak and did a full red suit radiation build where I was boosting the radiation damage through the Elemental Projector. This is before the Elemental Projector nerf, so the values were a lot higher, but the whole concept is going to be similar. I'll leave a card at the top right if you guys want to click and check out that build. Just keep in mind that it is an older build. There are new anointments out now, new Mayhem level, new level cap, all that good stuff. But it'll give you an idea of the type of build when you're using an Elemental Projector paired with a red suit that gives you 100% radiation. And also keep in mind that the two shields we have that give you 100% immunity are shock and radiation. With the Transformer shield, we are going to be getting 100% immunity to shock damage, and shock damage will actually heal your shields or regen your shields. However, as far as I know, you cannot proc Elemental Projector using the Transformer shield because of the ability for the Transformer to heal its own shield. It will not actually affect you with the status effect, whereas the red suit actually does. You'll see the radiation bubbles come up at the bottom of your screen even though you're not taking the damage. So that's why most people, when they're using Elemental Projector, they're either going to be using the red suit, the Spiritual Driver class mod, or shooting a weapon or grenade at their feet. But I found in Mayhem 4 at endgame, this can be really scary to do while mobbing, much easier for bossing, since for the most part you don't have to worry about dying from enemy damage. And then with radiation, you're going to have a really hard time getting through armor bars. And also keep in mind that weapons with the radiation element are actually going to be the lowest damage numbers. So if you compare the damage range on a weapon for different elements, radiation is actually the lowest and cryo is actually the highest because it doesn't have a damage over time tick. So these are all things that I think about when I'm trying to put together builds. This is why I always reiterate that I love cryo and radiation together because they complement each other so much. I feel like it's just detrimental to invest everything into one element because we see so many enemies with double and triple health, shield, and armor bars all the time when mobbing. You're going to see better performance when using multiple elements and action skill and elemental anointments versus going all in with the Elemental Projector. Alright guys, that is it for the deep dive into the Elemental Projector prefix that you can get on your artifacts here in Borderlands 3. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button. On my channel, you'll find educational and build videos for Borderlands 3, so if you're into that kind of thing, make sure to subscribe. Ring the bell to be notified whenever I post a video. I also stream on twitch.tv/AbbyHour Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I would love it if you stop by and say hi, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.